Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, my brother. Shabbat Shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom, Judah. Shabbat Shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. We read it, not the Torah. We read it from the prophets, the wisdom books and the Psalms. Can't forget about the gospel and the epistles and all the letters in the New Testament. This the new covenant, congregation of Israel. We authenticator, seeking out the lost sheep of the house of Yehudah, singing praises to Yahweh and his son Yeshua. Now all the men of Israel rise on up. We say the commandments. Look, mama, no fringes. His mercy endures forever. Blessed to see another Sabbath, the Sabbath day of the week, where all his saints gather. Shabbat Shalom, my brother. Shabbat Shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom, Judah. Shabbat Shalom, Yisrael. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Lead the world out there. Sisters, cover your hair. Brothers, gird your loin. Deacon, blow the ram's horn. Now sit back and listen. What the Spirit saying to the churches. Keep His commandments, law, statutes, and judgments. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 and 5. Whoever said the law was done away with Israel, they lied. What part of forever that they don't understand? As it is written, His saints will take the land. Now invite the angel that stand at the door to come in and sup with us, and us with Him as we read out of this great legacy. The greatest love story ever told, more valuable than silver and gold. Many are called, but few are chose. Yahweh willing, we make it home. Shabbat Shalom, my brother. Shabbat Shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom, Judah. Shabbat Shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom, my brother. Shabbat Shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom, Judah. Shabbat Shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, my brother. Shabbat Shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom, Judah. Shabbat Shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. We read it, not the Torah. We read it from the prophets, the wisdom books and the Psalms. Can't forget about the gospel and the epistles and all the letters in the New Testament. This the new covenant, congregation of Israel. We authenticator, seeking out the lost sheep of the house of Yehudah, singing praises to Yahweh and his son Yeshua. Now all the men of Israel rise on up. We say the commandments. Look, mama, no fringes. His mercy endures forever. Blessed to see another Sabbath, the Sabbath day of the week, where all his saints gather. Shabbat Shalom, my brother. Shabbat Shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom, Judah. Shabbat Shalom, Yisrael. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Lead the world out there. Sisters, cover your hair. Brothers, gird your loin. Deacon, blow the ram's horn. back and listen. What the Spirit saying to the churches. Keep His commandments, law, statutes, and judgments. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 and 5. Whoever said the law was done away with Israel, they lied. One part of forever that they don't understand. As it is written, His saints will take the land. Now invite the angel that stand at the door to come in and sup with us, and us with Him as we read out of this great legacy. The greatest love story ever told, more valuable than silver and gold. Many are called, but few are chose. Yahweh willing, we make it home. Shabbat shalom, my brother. Shabbat shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Judah. Shabbat shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, my brother. Shabbat shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Judah. Shabbat shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. About the gospel and the epistles and all. Beyond the surface, beyond the surface, beyond the surface, beyond the surface. The prince of this wicked world, the god of confusion, got black folk experiencing a strong delusions. Got ears that can't hear, mouths that won't speak, eyes that can't see that this curse is so deep. Deaf, dumb, and blind, committing sin / crime. Repent, oh Israel, we're running out of precious time in the land where they saying Yah's when it's dead, and you wondering why the innocent blood is shed. That's cause Satan's in the earth, he walking to and fro, doing what he's told, meeting his status quo. Tempted man with pleasure and wickedness, denying the master, saying don't keep his commandments. Our wisdom and our knowledge in the sight of nations, but you love earthly riches than salvation. That means get safety from tribulation and wrath. The broad way leads to death, and narrow is the path. Preach the gospel, spread the good news. The son of Elohim got you a king of the Jews, not king of the Christians. That's in they do Christ like. They criminals of Yahweh, outlaws in his sight. Same-sex marriage is okay with the president. That old serpent, the devil, is controlling the government. No prayer in the school system, no truth in the black churches. That's food in our neighborhoods, children killing with no mercy. Look beyond the surface and show yourself approved. Do your own research, seek the spirit of truth. Beyond the surface, beyond the surface, beyond the surface.
We're located at 3901A, Covenant Highway, Indicator, Georgia, 30032. Our phone number is 404-286-5869. The website is www.thencci.org. The topic of our program today is Black men used to be kings. Let me repeat that. Black men used to be kings. Now, if you watched this program before, you know you must have your Bibles out to follow along what we're talking about here. A Gentile philosopher once wrote, "Those that forget their history are condemned to repeat it." Black people do not know who they are, nor where they came from. And it was all by design of the white slave masters. A people with no history are easier to control and to deceive. They made it against the law to teach a slave how to read and how to write. They then taught them Christianity. And as time went on, when they were taught how to read and how to write, they were taught only white history and everyone else's history, but never their own history. And it is like that even unto this day. But black people do have a history, and white people know it. But their history is not written in white people's textbooks. It is actually written in the Bible. The Bible is actually black people's history book. And in it, it mentions the kings of all the nations that the children of Israel encountered and all the kings of Israel. But the children of Israel were a black-skinned people and not white. And so their kings were black, but they never called themselves black. Most of the kings mentioned in the scriptures were a black-skinned people. However, black people in America are not African. They are Israelites. Black people in America were never Africans, and the Africans know it. But black people do not. They have been taught that skin color determines who a people are and what they are worth. But the Bible does not speak about a people's skin color. It speaks about nations. And so this color thing came explicitly from white people. Black people in America are Israelites, and they came from the land of Israel. Let's start this off in Genesis chapter 32, verse 24 to verse 32, to see where did the name Israel come from. This is Genesis 32, verse 24 to verse 32. A lot of black people never even heard of Israel, but this is who they are. This is Genesis 32, verse 24 to verse 32. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him unto the breaking of day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, as he wrestled with him. And he said, "Let me go, for the day breaketh." And he said, "I will not let thee go, except thou bless me." And he said unto him, "What is thy name?" And he said, "Jacob." And he said, "Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with Elohim and with men, and hast prevailed." And Jacob asked him and said, "Tell me, I pray thee, thy name." And he said, "Wherefore is it that thou ask after my name?" And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen Elohim face to face, and my life is preserved. And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh, unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the sinew that shrank. So this is how the name Israel, this is the first time you hear the name Israel in the Bible, in Genesis 32, where our father Jacob's name was changed by an angel. To be called Israel is a blessing. That's something people don't pick up on. Let's continue. Let's go to Exodus chapter 1, verse 1 to verse 7. Exodus chapter 1, verse 1 to verse 7. Now, Jacob had 12 boys, and they They went down into Egypt to sojourn there until they became a mighty nation. And the reason they went there is because the land of Canaan was promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So they've been dwelling in the land for quite a while. So we're going to pick up the story in Exodus chapter 1, verse 1 to verse 7. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Yehuda, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died in all his generation, and all that generation. And let me read that again. And Joseph died in all his brethren, in all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. So here we have, this is our story. We don't have any kings yet. But let's go and see why the land was promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Let's go to Genesis 17, verse 1 to verse 8. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, Yahweh appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am El Shaddai. Walk before me and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and Elohim talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. And I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee in their generations, for an everlasting covenant to be an Elohim unto thee, and to thy seed after thee. And I will give unto thee, and to thy seed after thee, the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their Elohim. Now, this is where we come from. This is the beginning of our story here. We have Abraham being promised the land of Canaan. Now, no doubt, at this time, there are people still in the land of Canaan. The Canaanites are still there. So what we have here is how you become a nation. You have to take it from another people. And that's what Yahweh eventually told the children of Israel, to go and take the land of Canaan. It's your land. I made the earth and I made everything in it, and I give it to who I want to give it to. That's the kind of God we serve. He don't care about anybody else. If he's going to get that land to Abraham and his seed, then he's going to get it. But that land was given them forever. Abraham and his seed forever. That is our land. Let's go to 1 Samuel, verse 13. 1 Samuel 13, verse 19 to verse 20. 1 Samuel 13, verse 19 to verse 20. Now there was no smith found throughout all the land of Israel. For the Philistines said, lest the Hebrews make them swords or spears, but all the Israelites went down to the Philistines to sharpen every man his share, and his coulter, and his axe, and his mattock. Those are farm equipment. Those are farm tools. But the reason I went here is because this is the first time that you hear the phrase, the land of Israel. Prior to this, it was called Canaan's land, or the land of Canaan. But this is the first time you hear the phrase, the land of Israel. Let's continue. Let's look at, remember now, the title of this program is Black Men Used to Be Kings. Let's look at their kings. Let's look at their first kings. Let's go to 1 Samuel 8, verse 1 to verse 6. This is where, prior to this, Yahweh had judges ruling over our people. Now, the judge is not like the judge in a court. When you read the book of Judges, the judges were actually military men and deliverers, that whenever the children of Israel go into captivity because of their sin and the wickedness, then Yahweh would raise up a judge to bring them out of that captivity. But now, they're tired of these judges. Let's read the story. This is 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 1 to verse 6. And it came to pass when Samuel was old that he made his son judges over Israel. Now the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second Abiah. They were judges in Beersheba. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, and took bribes and perverted judgment. Now Samuel was a great man. Not only was he a judge, he was a prophet and a priest. And look what his boys are getting off into. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together and came to Samuel unto Ramah, and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us, and Samuel prayed unto Yahweh. This is the first time they asked for a king. Now, there are provisions in the law for a king of Israel. Now, prior to that, Yahweh was their king. Yahweh fought their battles. Yahweh would raise up people to help them along the way. But he knew that one day they would want a king. So let's see what the provisions of a king are. Let's go to Deuteronomy 17, verse 14 and 15. Deuteronomy 17, verse 14 and 15. When thou art come into the land which Yahweh thy Elohim giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom Yahweh thy Elohim shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou may not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. Those are the stipulations. If you want a king, it's got to be of your own people. Now, look at what black people are offering to today. Black people vote for their king. And most of the time they vote for strangers, people that don't know black people. So they thought they were voting for a black man in this African president, but he's not part of us. He's actually African. We are not the same as Africans. We may look like the Africans, but we're not Africans. Africans come from the seed of Ham. We come from the seed of Shem. So we have the stipulations, the law that tells us we only are supposed to set our own people over us. Now it says a king, which means there is no law concerning a queen. The children of Israel did not have queens ruling over them. You had a woman that jacked the kingdom because she was upset that her son was killed. She called herself a queen, but they ended up killing her. Let's continue. They want a king, right? Let's go to 1 Samuel 9, 15 through 17. Let's look at children of Israel's first kings. Again, this is 1 Samuel 9, verse 15 and 17. Now, they've asked for a king. Yahweh's going to give it to them. 1 Samuel 9, verse 15 through verse 17. Now, Yahweh had told Samuel in his ear a day before Saul came, saying, Tomorrow about this time I will send thee a man out of the land of Benjamin, and thou shalt anoint him to be captain over my people Israel, that he may save my people out of the hand of the Philistines. For I have looked upon my people, because their cry is come unto me. And when Samuel saw Saul, Yahweh said unto him, Behold, the man whom I spake to thee of, this same shall reign over my people. Now, this is our first king, King Saul. Now, let's look at our second king. Let's go to 1 Samuel 16, verse 1, and then we're going to pick it up at verse 11 to verse 13. 1 Samuel 16 and verse 1, and then 11 to verse 13. And Yahweh said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thine horn with oil and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. So again, Yahweh is choosing Israel's kings. He chose Saul, but he rejected Saul. Now he wants him another king. Let's drop down to verse 11 to verse 13. And Samuel said unto Jesse, hear all thy children. And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. And Yahweh said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then Samuel took the horn of the oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of Yahweh came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. This is our second king. Now let's look at our third king. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 1, verse 15, verse 17. 1 Kings chapter 1, verse 15, verse 17. And Bathsheba went in unto the king into the chamber, and the king was very old. We're talking about David. And Abishag the Shunammite ministered unto the king. And Bathsheba bowed and did obeisance unto the king. And the king said, what wouldest thou? And she said unto him, my master, thou swearest by Yahweh thy Elohim unto thine handmaid, saying, assuredly Shlomo thy son shall reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne. That'll be the third king of our people Israel. Now, these were the first kings. Now, we had maybe 42 kings altogether over time. But in this last king, King Shlomo, the kingdom is going to be split up after he dies. Now, let's look at Israel's last kings. Let's go to 2 Kings 17, verse 1 to verse 6. Again, these are the kings of Israel, and these kings look like us. See, black people don't know that they come from kings. Black men don't know they come from kings. They're royal people. This is 2 Kings 17, verse 1 to verse 6. So by this time, the kingdom was split up. You got the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. The northern kingdom was called Samaria, or the house of Israel, and the southern kingdom was called the house of Judah, right? In the house of Judah, you had 3 tribes, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And the northern kingdom had 9 tribes, so they had a total of 12 tribes. So they're split apart because Yahweh gave it to tear down the house of Israel. So let's look at the last kings of Israel and Judah. This is 2 Kings 17, verse 1 to verse 6. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Yehudah, began Hoshea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant and gave him presents. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to So, king of Egypt, and brought no present to the king of Assyria as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan in the cities of the Russians. So we got the northern kingdom being taken out. All right? Now let's look at the southern kingdom. Let's go to 2 Kings 25, verse 1 to verse 7. 2 Kings 25, verse 1 to verse 7. Now, the northern kingdom is taken out already. You don't hear nothing about them anymore. And it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon came, he and all his hosts, against Jerusalem, and pitched against it. And they built forts against it round about. And the city was besieged unto the 11th year of King Zedekiah. This is one of his last kings. And on the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine prevailed in the city, and there was no bread for the people of the land. And the city was broken up, and all the men of war fled by night by the way of the gate between two walls, which is by the king's garden. Now the Chaldees were against the city round about, and the king went the way toward the plain. And the army of the Chaldees pursued after the king and overtook him in the plains of Jericho, and all his army was scattered from him. So they took the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon to Riblah, and they gave judgment upon him. And they slew the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and bound him with fetters of brass, and carried him to Babylon. Now this is the last king of Judah. Again, this is the black people's history. So black people's history has kings in them. You're never going to find this out in America's history book, because they don't want black people to know these things. They want black people to stay slaves, to be ignorant, and to act a fool all the time, when all the time they are a royal people. After that, the children of Israel went into captivity under the 4 empires. After this last king, the children of Israel, or the house of Judah, went into captivity under the 4 empires that came upon the earth that Daniel, the prophet, saw in a vision. Let's pick this up in Daniel chapter 7, verse 1 to verse 7. Daniel chapter 7, verse 1 to verse 7. Now these people that we're about to read about not only ruled over the house of Judah, but also the whole world. These are empires we're about to read about here. And the historical books of the secular people verifies the vision that Daniel saw. This is Daniel chapter 7, verse 1 to verse 7. In the 1st year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea. And four great beasts came up from the sea, divers one from another. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. This is the Babylonian Empire. This is the empire that we talked about earlier as the last king of the house of Judah, the children of Israel. This is the Babylonian Empire that came in on 606 BC. And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. This will be the Medo-Persian Empire. The Medo-Persians would be called Russia and Iran today. And they came in about 532 BC. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. That would be the Greek Empire. And they came into the picture around 323 BC. After this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. This would be the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire, it only has 4 empires, 4 beasts, and the Roman Empire is still in effect today. It's just a fragmented Roman Empire, because when you consider America, America has all the trappings of the Roman Empire. Look at the buildings in Washington, D.C., and compare them to the buildings of the Roman Empire, and they look the same. Even in the Vatican, they got buildings that look the same in Vatican, in Italy, and the Roman Empire started in Italy. Let me stop here and invite you out to the Cultural Center of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel. We're located again at 3901A Covenant Highway in Decatur, Georgia, 30032. Our phone number is 404-286-5869. Our website is www.thencci.org. We have a prophecy class every first day of the week, which is Sunday at 11 o'clock. Come on out and see what the prophets like Daniel are saying about us in these days and times. If you cannot make it out there in person, then you can join us on Facebook and on YouTube. We also have a history class every 3rd day of the week, which is Tuesday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Again, come on out and read about your history, because the Bible is your history book. And if you cannot join us for our history class, then you can watch us on Facebook and YouTube. And by the way, you can ask all the questions you want about the history class and prophecy class. All the questions you want, we'll see if we can address them. We have a sisters-only class every 5th day of the week, which is Thursday night at 8 o'clock. You can join them on Zoom. And lastly, we have a Sabbath service every 7th day of the week at 11 o'clock a.m. Come on out and see what it's like to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. If you cannot join us in person, again, you can join us on Facebook and on YouTube. But how did the children of Israel end up in America? First of all, let's see. Because America is actually written in the Bible. It's not called America. But when you see the conditions of the children of Israel and what is being called, you see there's a connection, because we just read about the empires that came upon the earth, right? And they all had the children of Israel, or the house of Judah, in captivity. Let's go then to Genesis 15, verse 12 to verse 14. Genesis 15, and we've done this before. You know what the drill is, but you must continue to remember who you are and where you come from, because we have a unique history. We're not like anyone else on earth. This is Genesis 15, verse 12 to verse 14. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance. Notice the wording of this. He said, your seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Go back through history and see, who does this pertain to? Who's been in a land that's not theirs for 400 years and treated as strangers? Look around. You don't see anyone else on earth that's been in one place for 400 years and treated as strangers. America. This is America in the book of Genesis. This is about the relationship we have with our captors. So there is no one else on earth that's been in a place 400 years and treated as strangers. Let's continue. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 24 to verse 28. Deuteronomy 24. See, they don't want you to read this. Now you understand why. Because it points directly to us as being the chosen people. Deuteronomy 4, verse 24 to verse 28. For Yahweh thy Elohim is a consuming fire, even a jealous Elohim. When thou shalt beget children and children's children, ye shall have remained long in the land, and shall corrupt yourselves, and make a graven image, or the likeness of anything, and shall do evil in the sight of Yahweh thy Elohim, to provoke him to anger. I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that you shall soon utterly perish from off the land whereunto you go over Jordan to possess it. You shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. And Yahweh shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither Yahweh shall lead you. And there you shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. So, again, who does this point to? Who is in the land is not theirs. See, that's a special relationship. This book tells us there's a special relationship between the creator of heaven and earth and the people that he chose to represent him in the earth. Now, if the people he chose to represent him in the earth start worshiping other gods, worshiping gods of wood and stone, then you're not representing he who created heaven and earth, because he's a living God. Wood and stones are not living. When you cut a wood out a tree out of the forest and carve it into an idol, or you take a stone slab and carve it into an idol, that's not Yahweh. He's not made of wood. He's not made of stone. He created wood and he created stone. But he's a living God. He's alive. He speaks. He's always been here. But you can't see him, though. How can you make a God out of something that you can't see? Let's continue. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15. Then we're going to pick it up at verse 64 to verse 68. Deuteronomy 28. We're trying to tell you how we got here, according to what's written in the Bible. Again, this is our history book. Yahweh foresaw the days that we're living in now. So he had this book prepared thousands of years ago and had it translated into a language that our fathers could not speak because they spoke Hebrew. The Bible was written originally in Hebrew. And so Yahweh had it translated into a language that we can speak. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to pick it up at verse 15, and then we're going to go to 64 to 68. Listen carefully to what it's saying here, and you can understand why we are here in America. It says in verse 15, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. That's what's going on with black people today. It says, if you do not keep my commandments, all these curses are going to come upon you. So it's a matter of being obedient and keeping Yahweh's law, keeping his commandments, if you want to stay in the land. But if you don't keep them, you're going to be cursed, because that's the relationship we have with Yahweh. While we're in Deuteronomy 28, let's pick it up at verse 64 to verse 68. Listen carefully to what it's saying here and see if this reminds you of something. This is Deuteronomy 28, verse 64 to verse 68. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Don't black people serve other gods? JC is not the black people's God. Allah is not the black people's God. So JC is made of wood and stone and pictures, but in Islam, you got the Kaaba. Well, that's sort of like an idol also, because you have to circumambulate all around the Kaaba at least once in your life. And they got that little stone in that Kaaba that Muslims like to either touch or kiss. That's an idol. And among these nations shall thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have no assurance of thy life. Who else has been like that except us? You remember when we first got here, they freed the slave, the Ku Klux Klan came on the scene, started terrorizing Yahweh's people, burning crosses in their yards, murdering them, lynching them. So our life was in doubt before us. In the morning thou shalt say with Elohim, it were even, and at even thou shalt say with Elohim, it were morning. For the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Let's look at that verse again. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again. What is Egypt known as? The house of bondage. America is our house of bondage. So actually, Yahweh brought us into Egypt again. And to prove that, look on the back of your dollar bill, and you see a pyramid. Egypt got those pyramids, those same pyramids. So we are in Egypt. This is just a latter-day Egypt, but it's still our house of bondage. Egypt was known as a house of bondage back in these days, and America was a house of bondage. Understand what bondage means? It means slavery. Our fathers were slaves in Egypt. We were slaves in America, and now we're just captives. So that's how we got here. That's how we ended up here in America, because of the curses, because our fathers refused to keep the commandments. Now, it shows Yahweh's love for us, because he's showing us why we are here, because of the wickedness of our forefathers. When they were in the land, they refused to keep his commandments, and they forgot what Yahweh said would happen to them if they didn't keep the commandments. And here we are, and Yahweh is revealing these things unto us in these days to let us know this is why you're here. But he also let us know who we are, that we are special people to Yahweh. Let's prove that. I didn't mean to go here, but let's go to Deuteronomy 7, verse 6 to verse 8. This is Deuteronomy 7, verse 6 to verse 8. This is why Yahweh put us here, because we are special people to him. He says, for thou art a holy people unto Yahweh thy Elohim. Yahweh thy Elohim hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. You see how special you are? You're above all the people of the earth, and you got this ghetto culture. That's not being special above all the people of the earth, because people look down on black people. Look how they carry themselves. This is who you're supposed to be. You're a holy people. You're a chosen people. Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people. But because Yahweh loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, hath Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. That's why we're here. Because we are the chosen, we're still the chosen people. Yahweh hasn't cast his people away. You got to remember who's making this covenant, who chose us. It's not like he changed his mind and said, well, I want somebody else to be my chosen people. Yahweh don't operate like that. He said it once, and that's enough. So yes, our fathers broke the law. They refused to keep the commandments, but that doesn't mean it pertains to their children. Because if you remember, if you read the story, when our father came out of Egypt, when Yahweh brought our fathers came out of Egypt, Yahweh had to destroy a whole generation of the people that came out of Egypt because they refused to obey Yahweh and go and take the land of Canaan. But he saved their children, and their children went in and took the land of Canaan. So the same thing with us. Yes, our fathers caused us to be here in America. Yes, our fathers caused us to become slaves to these Christians. But Yahweh's looking at the children of our fathers. And so that's us. We're the children. So the covenant is still in effect. And as long as you return back to the law, then Yahweh will be your Elohim, will be his people. Let's continue. Let's go to Jeremiah 16, verse 10 through verse 13. Jeremiah 16, verse 10 to verse 13. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt show this people all these words, and they shall say unto you, wherefore hath Yahweh pronounced all this great evil against us? And what is our iniquity, or what is our sin that we have committed against Yahweh our Elohim? Then shalt thou say unto them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith Yahweh, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law. And you have done worse than your fathers. For behold, you walk every one after the imagination of his evil heart, that they may not hearken unto me. Therefore will I cast you out of this land into a land that you know not, neither you nor your fathers, and there shall you serve other gods day and night, where I will not show you favor. When you see what white people did to Yahweh's people, it seems as though black people did not even have a God. And they were forced into Christianity, so that if you're a Christian, then you're serving gods of wood and stone. You're serving the gods of other people. That means black Christian, you don't have a God. Black Muslims, you don't have a God. You're serving somebody else's God. You're worshiping somebody else's God. Where is your God? Why hasn't he come to your rescue? And I'm pretty sure that's what white Christians say and Muslims say. Because they dog black people out. The Muslims, they had black people in slavery before white people. And they treated their slaves worse than how white people treated their slaves here in America. Let's continue. Now, will black people ever return back into their own land? Let's see. Let's go to Deuteronomy 30, verse 1 to verse 10. Deuteronomy 30, verse 1 to verse 10. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among the nations whither Yahweh thy Elohim have driven thee, and shall return unto Yahweh thy Elohim, and shall obey his voice, according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart, with all thy soul, that then Yahweh thy Elohim will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither Yahweh thy Elohim have scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh thy Elohim gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And Yahweh thy Elohim will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. And Yahweh thy Elohim will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou may live. And Yahweh thy Elohim will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. People hate us. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of Yahweh, and do all his commandments which I command thee this day. And Yahweh thy Elohim will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land for good. For Yahweh will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes which are written in this book of the law, and if thou turn unto Yahweh thy Elohim with all thine heart and with all thy soul. So you understand what we're dealing with here. You can't half-step with Yahweh this time. We got the story here. Yahweh was angry with our fathers, and he punished them over and over again, but they were still hard-hearted and stiff-necked. So Yahweh decided to say, you're not going to stay here no more. I'm going to put you in somebody else's land of people that hate you. And here we are. White people have always hated us, and have always found ways to try to destroy us. But you can't destroy Yahweh's chosen people. They don't understand what they're dealing with here, because they look at us as uncivilized heathens. No, we're the chosen people. The chosen people wrote this book. This shows you the intellect and the mental superiority of our forefathers that put this book together. They were not ordinary people. So you brought us over here and refused to teach us how to read and write. And so black people act like fools all the time because they feel like if you can make white people laugh, they won't hate you so much. So you got professional comedians out there making tons of money making white people laugh. You're not going to find humor in our culture. Yeah, we may have a good time, but cracking jokes, that's not going to be part of our culture. So he's saying if you repent from your ways and hear his voice, and his voice is speaking to us out of this book, telling us to keep his commandments. And that's what we're doing. So the more we keep his commandments, the more that we walk righteously before him, because there's nothing more righteous than his law. See, people think that if you're religious, that will suffice. No, he's looking for you to walk in righteousness, do things that are right in his sight. You're not going to find any other law more righteous than Yahweh's law. The United States Constitution can't compare to this. This is our government. This is how we're supposed to carry our everyday life. According to the law, from Genesis to Deuteronomy, it tells you how to carry your life. It tells you what to do and what you're not to do. Follow your instructions. They're written right here in the book, so you don't have any excuse. You don't have to make up anything to see what is right or wrong. It tells you what's right and wrong. Cover you from head to toe. Let's continue. Let's go to Ezekiel 39, verse 25. Again, this is what's going to happen when Yahweh brings you back. Ezekiel 39, verse 25 to verse 29. Ezekiel 39, verse 25 to verse 29. Therefore, thus saith the Adonai Elohim, now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name. After that, they have borne their shame and all their trespasses whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwelt safely in their land, and none made them afraid. When I have brought them again from the people and gathered them out of their enemies' lands, and am sanctified in them in the sight of many nations, then shall they know that I am Yahweh their Elohim, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen, but have gathered them unto their own land, and have left none of them any more there. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, saith the Adonai Elohim. We are going back into our land. Someday, we don't know when, but it's only coming out now for some reason, because prior to this, you never heard of Christians or black people anywhere saying we should go back to our land. Because black people don't know, they got their own land. America is not our land. We were brought to America as slaves. You have your own land. It's over 6,000 miles away, but it's still your land. Now, how you going to get there? That's up to Yahweh. But right now, the prophecies concerning the destruction of America is happening right before our eyes. So Once America falls, we have to get up out of here before America falls. And Yahweh got his own servant as the president of America, destroying his own land. We've never seen anything like this before. But it has to go according to what is written. He can't help himself. Let's continue. Let's go to, well, hold on a second here, because I don't have much time. Oh, okay. Will the children of Israel, which are black people, ever have a king to rule over them again? Let's see. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6 to verse 8. Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6 to verse 8, and it says, For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty El, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever. The zeal of Yahweh of hosts will perform this. The Adonai sent a word unto Jacob, and he have lighted upon Israel. So yes, we're going to have a king to rule over us again. And he's going to look like us. And let me tell you something else. You're not going to vote for this one. He's going to be king whether you like it or not. And that's where kings roll. Kings and their kingdoms are inherited. So if a king has a firstborn son, once that king dies, it goes to his firstborn son. He becomes king. That's our history. When you get a chance, read about our kings. All the kings, except for Saul and David, all the kings of Judah came from the loins of David. So all the kings came from one person. So we got a king that's going to rule over us. It's not about representative government. You're not going to vote for anything in this kingdom. He's going to have a kingdom, and it's going to be a kingdom of peace. Not only is his kingdom going to be a kingdom of peace, the whole world will finally be at peace. There will be no more wars. That is our future, and that is the future of all the nations of the earth, that a king's going to rule over not only us, but all the rest of the nations that looks like us. Now, that is an amazing thing to read about. Now, I got a whole lot more in here to show you, but I think I'm out of time. Let's go to one more place. Let's go to Matthew chapter 2, verse 1 and 2. Matthew chapter 2, verse 1 and 2. Look at what it says here. Now, when Yeshua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east of Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and have come to worship him. We are the Jews. Jews is just short for Judah. Judah is one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Judah is part of the house of Judah. We are the house of Judah here in America and in the islands. And they just say Jews for short, but yeah, that's who we are. We are Jews. Now, I'm pretty sure by now, if I say I'm a Jew, they messing with the Facebook and YouTube by now. Because that's what happens when I say things like that. So they got some kind of algorithm out there, somebody watching us and say, uh-oh, there you go again. Let's mess this thing up. So, again, understand, black men, you came from kings, and you're going to be a kingdom of priests when you return back into the land. I want to thank y'all for joining us, and I hope you got something out of this, because this is very important for your future. Yahweh bless you and keep you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.